Hello, all. We're going to just take a few minutes to talk about the 4-to-1 positive to corrective language ratio, which is an evidence-based practice that we often speak about and talk to educators as a way to promote positive student behavior. So how does this happen? How does 4-to-1 positive to corrective language ratio happen? So on the screen here, you'll see there are a list of different ways in which we can have positive interactions with students. Just simply making eye contact, smiling at a student, being welcoming when they come into the door and greeting them. When you see that they need help, just making those offers of assistance. Frequently providing positive feedback when we see appropriate behavior from students, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments and give you some examples of how that can happen. And always trying to maintain an attitude of respect and support, even when correcting unwanted behavior. Even when the students are doing something that's frustrating us, we want to exhibit persistent positive regard and have those students know that, no matter what, we're there to support them and to try to help them improve. My personal favorite is a thumbs up. When I see a student doing something well, I'll give them a thumbs up and say, great job. But one way, or one of the ways that we frequently talk about providing this 4-to-1 positive to corrective language ratio is the idea of providing students with something we call behavior-specific praise. And that is, similar to what we talked about when we looked at the tootling for students. It's descriptive, it's specific, and it's tied directly to a student's behavior. So a couple of examples here. Tammy, thanks for throwing your trash away. That shows cooperation and respect for your school. So we're telling the student specifically what they did and then what that shows us about them. The idea being that, students are getting multiple examples over the course of a year, a school year, multiple school years, where teachers are pointing out, oh, you were responsible then, you were respectful then. The more students hear that, the more likely they are to internalize that and to try to really live those principles. And so we want to talk about them as often as possible. Here's just some of the research behind why we use the behavior-specific praise and this 4-to-1 positive to corrective language ratio. It creates a positive climate, a school building where people want to be. It increases the interactions between students and teachers and helps with the rapport and helps develop that positive student-teacher relationship, which we know in and of itself is a positive evidence-based practice for positive student behavior. In addition, behavior-specific praise helps to reinforce a growth mindset for student. It increases the ability for teachers to have more instructional time because we see less out of class behavior or decrease in problem behavior, which reduces our need to then correct those students. So it really is just a way of, shifting human behavior in general. We're talking about students right now, but, I suggest you go home and use it with family members as well. Behavior-specific praise is a great practice to get used to using. And the idea here is, like, every time we're speaking with a student, we want to deliver that behavior-specific praise. Every time we do so, we're teaching students, one, these are the positive behaviors I want to see from you, and two, when I see you do those things, you're going to get positive attention for doing so. So again, just a little bit more guidance on this. You want to identify the student, have a term of praise. If there's a school-wide expectation, great, tie it to that. And if possible, you might be able to give the student some sort of reward or acknowledgement. Diane, awesome. You're demonstrating listening to the speaker. That's being respectful. Or here we have a whole class acknowledgement. This whole table group cleaned up their lab area when the bell rang. Well done. Way to show responsibility. So here it's just showing that we can either do individual students or we can make use of those group contingencies and congratulate an entire group of students. So that's a quick overview on the 4-to-1 positive to corrective language ratio and behavior-specific praise. Please feel free to start making use of this practice with your students. I often see teachers doing so, and anytime I see a teacher provide that behavior-specific praise, there's almost always a response from the students where you'll see them copying the behavior that was just praised. So looking forward to making future videos. Take care.